Every act of kindness has a cost and a reward. A young boy in the heart of Lagos gives away his last coin to help a stranger, but that small act of kindness awakens something ancient. Now he's chosen for a journey no child should ever face alone. But what if his kindness is the only thing strong enough to defeat the darkness that feeds on broken promises? This is not just another city tale. It's a story of hidden spirits, unfinished kindness, and a coin that knows the truth you've tried to forget. The sun was hot over Oshodi Market. John, a skinny boy with bright eyes, sat by the side of the road, holding his last coin. It was small, shiny, and warm from his palm. He had kept it hidden in his old shoe all week. That coin was the only thing he had left. His stomach growled like a lion. He hadn't eaten since morning. He looked around. People were buying bread, puff-puff, and roasted corn. The smell made his mouth water. He could buy something small. Just a little puff-puff. But he didn't move yet. A sound made him turn. An old man sat under a broken umbrella by the gutter. His clothes were dusty, his beard was white, and he held a small tin cup in his hand. His eyes were closed, and his lips moved like he was praying. His cup was empty. John looked at the coin in his hand again. He stood up slowly and walked to the old man. "Sir, are you hungry?" John asked. The man opened one eye and looked at him. His voice was soft like wind. "Yes, but I will not beg today." John looked at the coin again. It was all he had. His hand shook a little as he dropped the coin into the man's cup. The man looked at it, then at Johnny. Then he smiled. "Thank you, kind child," the man said. "You gave your last coin. May the world remember." John smiled back, even though his belly still hurt. The old man closed his eyes again. John turned to go then when he looked back, the man was gone. Vanished. The umbrella. The cup all gone. John rubbed his eyes. "Am I dreaming?" he said. He walked back to his corner and sat. Night was coming. He lay down on the torn mat beside the wall. The city noise faded. He closed his eyes. In the middle of the night, John woke up with a strange feeling. Something was under his head. He lifted the mat and saw something glowing. It was a coin. But not just any coin. It looked like his old one, but now it was bright like the moon, shining with golden light. John picked it up. It felt warm and soft, almost alive. "What is this?" he whispered. A tiny whisper came from the coin. "You gave with love. Now the journey begins." He sat up straight, holding the glowing coin in his hand. His heart was beating fast. The whisper still echoed in his ear, even though everything around him was quiet. He looked around. The street was empty. Everyone was asleep. The buses were silent. Even the rats hiding near the gutter were gone. Just him and the coin. The glow from the coin bounced on his face. It was warm, not hot, not cold. Just perfect. He looked closer. There were tiny shapes on the coin like markings or old writing. He didn't understand them, but they moved slowly like they were alive. He closed his hand around it and felt something inside his chest. A strange feeling, like something soft but strong. Like a drum beating far away. Then he heard a soft sound, like footstep, but not from any person. He looked up. Across the street, a black dog stood still. Its eyes were red, and its fur looked like it had been burned. Smoke came out of its nose. It sniffed the air and barked. John froze. The dog took a step toward him. Then another. He stood up slowly. He wanted to run, but his legs were heavy. His heart beat faster. The coin was now burning hot in his hand, but he couldn't drop it. His fingers wouldn't let go. The dog barked again, loud and sharp. The sound made the street lights flicker. John turned and ran. He ran through the sleeping city, past old stalls and dusty bikes. He ran until he couldn't hear the dog anymore. But when he stopped to catch his breath, he saw it again. Standing far behind him, waiting. John ducked into a narrow street. His chest was on fire. He opened his hand. The coin was no longer glowing. Now it looked dark, like something hiding inside it. And then it spoke again. But this time, it was not a whisper. You must return what was stolen, before the shadows come. John looked around. His heart thudded. Who stole what? He asked. There was no answer. Just the sound of the wind, and the slow, careful steps of the black dog behind him. He backed away slowly, holding the coin tight in his fist. The black dog stood at the entrance of the narrow street, watching him. It didn't move. Its red eyes blinked once, like it was waiting for something. He turned and ran again, deeper into the street. His feet splashed in puddles. He didn't stop until he reached a wall. He looked around, no way out. His heart dropped. Trap. He turned back. But the dog was gone. The street was empty. Only shadows and silence. John breathed hard. His shirt was soaked with sweat. His hand still held the coin tightly, even though it no longer glowed. He looked at it. It was cold now. Almost heavy. Suddenly, a soft voice came from behind the wall. You saw it too, didn't you? He jumped. Who's there? A small head peeked over the wall. A girl around his age, with short hair and bright eyes. She climbed over and dropped down beside him. My name is Anita, she said. What did it give you? John stared at her. You mean the coin? Anita's eyes lit up. You have one too? He opened his hand slowly, showing her. The coin looked plain now, no shine at all. She reached into her pocket and pulled out something small. A coin, just like his, but with a tiny crack on the edge. They don't stay bright forever, she whispered. Only when you're doing the right thing. John was confused. What is happening? Why is a dog chasing me? It's not a dog. It's a shadow guard. It only chases people who hold pure coins. You must have done something very kind, Anita said. John blinked. I gave my last coin to an old man. She nodded. That's how it starts. But now you've been marked. The coin chose you. It wants something done. If you ignore it, the shadows will come. Anita stepped closer. There are more of us. People like you. With coins. But many are missing now. Missing? John whispered. She nodded. They didn't finish their journey in time. The shadows took them. Suddenly, they heard noise down the street again. Low and deep. Anita grabbed his arm. We don't have much time. He followed her through the back street of Oshidi, his heart beating fast. She moved quickly, like she had done this many times before. The streets were quiet, except for the soft sound of their sandals on the wet ground. Where are we going? John asked. To the safe house, she replied. It's the only place they can't follow us. John looked back. The dog was not following them, but he still felt like something was watching him. After a few turns, they stopped in front of a small wooden gate between two buildings. It looked like a broken shed. Anita knocked 3 times, slow, fast, then slow again. The door opened by itself. Inside it was dark, but as soon as they stepped in, the room lit up with a soft yellow light, like the coin when it first glowed. John gasped. He had never seen anything like it. The room was round and full of old wooden symbols. There were mats on the floor and stones with carvings. Around the room sat 4 other people. They all looked tired, but their eyes were sharp. Each held a coin like his. This is Ken, Samuel, Mark, and Philip, Anita introduced them. They've all been chosen too. John felt nervous but also safe. Something inside him relaxed a little. What do the coins want from us? He asked. Ken, the tallest boy, stood up. They carry memories, he said. Ancient kindnesses that were forgotten. But when someone gives from a pure heart, the coin wakes up. It finds a bearer, someone to carry the memory back to its place, to finish what was left undone. Anita added, but not all kindness is safe. Some were stolen, some were broken, and some are guarded. Jane, a quiet girl, held up a map. Your coin will show you where to go next. You'll see things others can't. But be careful. The more you help, the more the shadows notice you. John opened his hand again. The coin glowed faintly and pulsed. For a second, he saw something inside it, an image. A hut with a broken roof. A red river. A child's voice crying. Then it was gone. He looked up, breathing hard. I saw something. Anita nodded. The coin has spoken. Your journey begins at dawn. John looked around at the others. He wasn't alone anymore. But he wasn't safe either. The shadows were real. And they were coming. John couldn't sleep that night, even though he lay on a soft mat inside the safe house. The room was quiet, but his thoughts were noisy. His coin sat near his head, glowing softly in the dark. He stared at it until his eyes felt heavy. Just before sleep took him, the coin pulsed. And then he heard the cry again. It wasn't loud. Just a small child's voice calling out softly. Help! Help me! John sat up, heart pounding. The others were still sleeping. Only Anita stirred, her hand resting on her own coin. John didn't want to wake her. The cry came again, this time inside his head. He picked up the coin. It felt warm. A soft mist rose from it, and in the middle of the mist, he saw the same picture as before. A small hut, a red river, and a crying child. Where is this place? He whispered. Suddenly the coin moved. It floated out of his hand and pointed like a compass, spinning slowly, then locking in one direction. John followed it towards the corner of the room, which has a narrow back door. He stood up quietly and tiptoed toward the door. But just as he reached for the handle, a hand grabbed his wrist. Don't go alone. It was Anita. Her eyes were wide awake. She looked serious. You'll get lost, she whispered. Or worse. John didn't know what to say. The coin. It showed me something. A child crying. I need to help. Anita nodded slowly. Okay. But we will go together. She reached into her bag and pulled out a small calabash tied with red cloth. What's that? John asked. It protects against shadow scent. They track with smell, not just sight. They slipped out of the safe house together, stepping carefully into the night. The city was different now, quieter, darker, like it was holding its breath. The buildings seemed taller. The shadows stretched longer. The coin led them through back roads and narrow footpaths, far from the noisy parts of town. As they walked, Anita explained more. There are 7 coins in total. Each one holds an unfinished kindness. Something that someone started long ago, but never finished. When a child gives pure kindness, the coin chooses them to finish the journey. Why children? John asked. Because adults forget, but children still believe. Suddenly, the coin in John's hand grew hot. They had reached the hut. It was just like in the vision. Small, broken, with a leaking roof. The red river beside it wasn't water, it was clay soil, shining in the moonlight. John stepped forward, his coin glowing brighter. And then, he heard the cry again. From inside the hut. Help me! Anita's grip tightened. We're not alone. They turned. The black dog was there. But this time, it wasn't alone. Another shadow walked beside it. With no face. John froze. His feet felt like stones. The black dog barked, its eyes glowing red in the dark. Beside it stood the shadow figure, tall, silent, and faceless. Its body looked like smoke trapped inside the skin. No mouth. No nose. Just 2 empty holes where eyes should be. The figure raised one long hand and pointed at John. Anita stepped in front of him and quickly opened her calabash. Smoke rose from it, thick and sweet-smelling burning herbs. The dog barked again and stepped back. The shadow figure hissed, a sound like wind through dry leaves. They don't like it, Anita whispered. But we don't have long. Go. Help the child. John nodded, his hand gripping the coin tighter. He ran toward the hut. The door creaked open slowly, like it had been waiting for him. Inside, the air was warm and dusty. Cobwebs hung from the ceiling like sleeping ghosts. He heard the cry again. This time it was louder. Help me. Please. He followed the sound. At the back of the hut, under a broken bench, was a little boy. His clothes were torn, his knees scraped, and his eyes wide with fear. John knelt beside him. Hey. I'm here. It's okay. The boy looked up. Are you the one with the coin? John blinked. Yes. How do you know? The boy touched his own chest. There, on a string around his neck, was a tiny piece of a broken coin, just a fragment. It's mine, the boy said. But I never got to give it away. I was too afraid. John's coin pulsed again. Suddenly, he understood. The boy had once been chosen, just like him. But his journey was never finished. The kindness he wanted to give remained trapped inside him, and now he was stuck, crying for help, while the shadows guarded the place he could never leave. John held up his own coin. It floated gently out of his hand and touched the fragment on the boy's chest. The light grew stronger, pushing through the hut's walls. The black dog barked outside. The shadow figure screamed, then vanished into smoke. Anita ran into the hut. It worked! The little boy stood up, blinking. His wounds were gone. His eyes sparkled. I feel free. John smiled, tears in his eyes. Your kindness is finished, he said softly. The boy nodded. Then, like a soft breeze, he disappeared. Anita touched his arm. One kindness restored. But there are more, aren't there? John asked. She nodded. Yes, 6 more. They stepped outside. The moon was high now, bright and calm. The shadows were gone. The dog was nowhere to be seen. John looked at the coin. It pulsed again. This time, it pointed east. John and Anita walked in silence. The streets of Oshodi were quiet now, with only the rustling wind and the faint barking of faraway dogs. The coin in John's hand was glowing steadily again, pulling him toward the east like a compass of light. They crossed a narrow footbridge over a dry canal, passed quiet houses with flickering lamps, and turned onto a lonely street lined with small mango trees. The air smelled of smoke and wet earth. It felt like something old was watching them. Anita finally spoke. You were brave back there. Not many finish their first kindness. John looked at her. I was scared. Being scared doesn't mean you're not brave, she said. It means you're still human. He smiled, but his smile faded as he remembered the shadow. Its faceless stare still burned in his mind. What are those things? He asked. The dog. And the shadow man. Anita walked slower now. They're called the keepers of broken vows. They were once humans, people who made promises to do good things but never kept them. Over time, they became hollow. Now they serve the shadows, stopping others from doing what they never finished. John swallowed hard. So they want us to fail too? She nodded. Because if we finish our journey, they disappear. They reached a small roadside shrine, built from stone and covered in red cloth and palm leaves. The coin pulled hard toward it. John stopped. This is a forgotten shrine. Long ago, people came here to make promises and give thanks. But now, no one remembers. John stepped closer. The stone glowed faintly like it was waking up. The coin in his hand floated again and hovered above the shrine. A voice came, soft and sad. She gave all she had. But her child still weeps. John felt a tear slip down his cheek, and it wasn't his. The feeling came from the coin. Anita placed her hand on the stone. This one is older than the last. The kindness here is buried deep. Suddenly the ground shook. From behind the shrine, a figure rose. Not a shadow, not a ghost. It was a woman, tall, wrapped in cloth, her face hidden behind a veil of leaves. Her arms were made of wind and her voice like a drum. "Who wakes the promise of Idaiji?" she asked. John stepped forward, heart thudding. I'm here to help." The spirit looked down at him. Then she opened her hand, revealing a broken baby wrapper, tied with beads. "Return this to the child of the giver," she said, "and the kindness shall be whole again." "But where is the child?" John asked. The spirit pointed far into the city. "Follow the tears." Then, just like mist, she vanished. John turned to Anita. "What does it mean?" She looked out at the distant rooftops of Lagos. "We follow the crying. We have to find the child." John placed the wrapper carefully in his bag. The coin pulsed with new light. He didn't know who the child was or how far they had to go. But he knew one thing. He wouldn't stop until the kindness was complete. Both of them walked through the early morning mist. Lagos was slowly waking up, roosters crowed in the distance, Danfo buses honked as they began their day, and the smell of akara and smoke filled the air. But for John, everything still felt quiet inside. His thoughts were full of the Spirit's words. "Return this to the child of the giver." He touched the old wrapper in his bag. It felt warm and soft, even though it looked old and worn. The beads tied to it jingled faintly with each step. They entered a part of the city called Ijora. Here, the streets were narrow, and the houses were built close together like a puzzle. John looked at his coin. It glowed gently, then blinked once, then again. Almost like it was listening. Anita stopped. "Do you hear that?" John paused. At first, he didn't hear anything. Then, he did. A soft sound like someone crying. It was far away, but real. "This way," he whispered. They followed the sound through winding paths. It grew louder. The crying came from a small blue house with a broken window. A woman sat outside, peeling oranges. Her eyes were swollen like she had been crying for days. John stepped forward. "Ma, are you okay?" The woman looked up slowly. "My baby," she whispered. "She cries every night. But I don't know why." Anita sat beside her gently. "May we see her?" The woman nodded. She led them inside. The house was small but neat. In a corner, her girl child is lying down there. Her face is full of sadness, tears rolling down her cheeks. Yet she made no sound, just opened her mouth in silent crying. John's heart sank. "It's her. The child." Anita looked at the mother. "Did someone give you something long ago? Something special?" The woman wiped her eyes. "Yes. My mother. She passed on while giving birth to my baby. She gave me her wrapper, told me to keep it close. But it was stolen the day after she passed." John reached into his bag and pulled out the wrapper. The mother gasped. "That's it. That's Mama's wrapper." He walked slowly to the baby and gently laid the wrapper across her tiny body. Instantly, the girl child gets healed. The baby blinked, yawned, and smiled. A soft golden light filled the room. The coin in John's hand pulsed 3 times, then became cool. Anita whispered, "Another kindness restored." The mother held the baby close, tears of peace now in her eyes. "Thank you. Whoever you children are. Thank you." John smiled, heart full. As they stepped back into the street, the sun rose higher, bright and golden. They walked quickly, turning into a quieter area where old buildings stood like tired elders. As they walked, John asked, "Do you remember your first kindness?" Anita nodded slowly. "It was a woman at the bus stop. She was barefoot. I gave her my slippers and walked home without them. That night my coin appeared. Since then, I've been following the trail." John smiled. "You're strong." She smiled too, but there was sadness in her eyes. Kindness isn't always easy, but it always matters. He looked up at her. Are there really 7? She paused, then said, That's what they say. But every journey is different. Some coins never call again. Some call forever. They reached the safe house just before nightfall. The others were waiting. When John and Anita entered, the fire grew brighter. Ken looked up and smiled. You made it back. John sat quietly, placing his coin on the floor, and then the final vision came. A giant tree, tall and wide, its roots reaching deep into the earth. Its bark was carved with names. Hundreds of names, some glowing, some dark. From the branches, tiny lights floated down like stars. One of them drifted into John's coin. It pulsed once, then stopped forever. A hush filled the room. Anita leaned in and whispered, The tree. It's called the Tree of Promises. That's where all true kindness is remembered. John smiled softly. A tear rolled down his cheek, but it wasn't a sad tear. It was the kind that comes when something big inside you finally settles. He looked at his coin one last time. I think I'm done, he whispered. Anita reached out and gently took his hand. Then rest. And when another child gives from their heart, the journey will begin again. John closed his eyes. And somewhere, deep in the roots of a forgotten tree, another pure coin began to shine. In a world that often forgets, it only takes one small act of kindness to awaken something greater. John didn't set out to be a hero, he just cared. And sometimes that's all it takes to light up even the darkest corners of our lives. So maybe, just maybe, the next time you help someone, the coin will choose you too. I hope you loved this beautiful story. Please share your thoughts in the comment section. I would love to read from you. There is another very interesting story I will be uploading in few days. Subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you will be the first to know once I uploads it. Thank you for watching, I appreciate you always, see you in next story.